This is Daddy Talk around the world. My name is Calvin Mann, president and founder of Good Fathers Only and Encourage Me I'm Young. Today, our guest is Brother Paul Posey, author, motivational speaker, and leader. Paul, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Calvin. And thanks for reaching out to me.
Not a problem,
It's good
Paul.
to be noticed. It's good to be noticed. And I didn't know you. I didn't know you noticed me.
Well, I'm always looking for dad.
Yes.
Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter
hmm
when. I'm
hmm
always looking for dad. Pink, beige, white, black, orange. I'm always looking for dad. And the reason why I'm always looking for dad is really to get his story. Like
hmm
becoming a dad is such a journey for some of us that, to
hmm
really get his story. So my first question would be to you is, first of all, how are you doing and your family during this time?
Life is good. I keep reaching out to them to make sure the love goes back and forth. I love them. They love me. And we talk about the best things you can do to stay safe. And if you go out, we're constantly talking about that. And we're going to come up with a new a YouTube channel. Me and my daughters is she pitched it last night. She says, what do young ladies do when they want to ask a question of their dad? And she says, we're going to start a YouTube channel called Let's Ask My Dad. So,
Wow.
man, yeah, that's how much they love me and that's how much I love them. I was like, yep, that's what
Wow.
we're going to do. And, we have a huge responsibility being dad. And we're just finally starting to creep into getting into our roles. So
Oh
that
man,
makes
I gotta send you. I gotta send you what me and my son is doing. You're gonna love it. I gotta send that to you. I'm gonna send it to you later on. But the
okay.
second question is, would you support a shared parenting bill?
What does that mean?
Shared parenting, 50-50 upon divorce, father gets 50%, mom gets 50, right? Because our tag is kids need both parents.
Absolutely. Hands down, I would, because I was just telling a lady, this is our child, right? I put half in there, she puts half in there, then we get a whole child. If I only put half in there, her piece is missing, then the world finishes the rest of that. And we can't keep allowing that to happen. So yeah, I mean, I was just having that conversation. So yeah, I'm all about 50-50 no matter what. But that's why I do what I do besides the dad book is try to get people to understand, watch who you pick to be with so you can do the 50-50. Because if you pick somebody you're not compatible with, you're not compatible how they raise their children and things like that, you just create another single parent and therefore your glass is half full and it's filled with other stuff.
So Paul, that would bring us to our next question, which is, what is your fatherhood story?
Whew. You want me to get into that book or what do you want me
You
to
can get
do?
into whatever
After
you
the
like
book?
to. This is
Okay,
your story.
my fatherhood story.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everybody don't know your fatherhood story, so this is a side of you that you've kept.
right, absolutely. And when I wrote the book, a lot of my friends and extended family just didn't know. So my fatherhood story is I was raised with four siblings in a house where my mother was the single parent. We all had different dads. And right about 10 years old, I realized that those dads were not my dads. And I would go with my siblings to go visit their dad. And I asked my mother, where's my dad at? And she told me he was dead. I joined the Marine Corps with him dead and in my service record. I joined the Marine Corps, I get married, and one day my former wife meets my dad at a gas
Wow.
station. And what happened was he saw my name on the front of the car and they started a conversation and they figured out that she was actually married to me and she was standing in front of my dad because I knew his name. I knew his whole name. And she talks to him and I go meet him. But just before I meet him, I had this conversation with my mother again about him the same day when I found out. And I says, why did you tell me he was dead? And I says, Bree just met him. My wife at the time name was Bree. Bree just met him. I says, why did you tell me he's dead? She says, shit, he was dead to me. This is the language she used. Shit, he was dead to me. So then I said, you know, when I was like 10, referring back earlier, 10 to 13 years old, I asked you about him. Why don't you just let me see for myself? Why don't you just let me make my own decision about who this man was going to be? What about me? And my mother said, what the fuck about you? I'm a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps at the time, standing there at the phone booth, just crying, because my mom just gutted me like a catfish I just pulled out the lake. And it just hurt me so bad. So the next thing I did was I went to go see him, and I saw him that day. I met my siblings, and then I brought my kids the next day to meet him. And he was smoking weed with my new siblings when I got there. And I made a decision right there as I brought my kids up the sidewalk that say hello to your granddaddy and say goodbye. You'll never see him again. Because here I've been waiting all my life to meet him, and he disrespected the union of my kids. The introduction right there in my face. And I just could not, I just didn't go back, So what that did for me was, it made me mindful that I am responsible to my kids.
Right.
I have to be that missing part. You know, I have to be the filler for what he could not do. It wasn't until 2000, and that was in 1995. And in 2007, his wife contacted me. I was still in the Marine Corps. And she says, you know, he's about to pass away. And I was like, well, what is he about to pass away from? She says, he has bouts with Alzheimer's, so he's about to die. And I told her that he's probably not going to remember me anyway, and I'm not coming. So he passes away. There's a reason why I say that part. So I have PTSD, and I ruined my marriage. Everything was going wrong. 2008, I'm ready to take my own life because I kept making bad decisions, bad personal decisions. And then I eventually retired in 2009, I retired from the Marines. So now I'm at the point where she tries to marry, we tried to fix our marriage. It didn't work. 7 months, it didn't work. Now I'm living with my son, and I'm still not grasping this dad thing. I'm doing the bare minimum, because what I didn't know was, you go talk to other dads. You get some guidelines. You get something about yourself. You build yourself. You become the leader that you were the leader in the Marine Corps. You need to be the leader in your family. And I still hadn't grasped that. So it's starting to inch forward then. And then something happened. I was working at the VA, and something happened at the job where I physically put my hands on a veteran, and I had to get some psychological help. This is where life changes. First I was being bare minimum, and then I go get some help. And then that reminds me of how important I am to them, because their growth is connected to my growth. Their love is connected to my love, and I wasn't having any love. I thought they didn't even like me. I didn't think they even loved me until I got some help. And then on purpose, I got into their lives. I answered those hard questions, those embarrassing questions, why I did what I did, my jacked up decision-making factors, all that. And the reason you have to do that is they're going to go down the same path, and they need some ammunition to go through those parts of their life, because they're human, and this is what we go through. And our job is to arm them. And if we don't arm them, we're just making them victims of the same things, the same trail they're going to go down. It's going to happen to them without them. So after the books, I had to have conversations with them, and I found something. Here's what we don't know. We don't know what they see. We don't know what they know. And we don't know what they think. You got to have that conversation for them so they can actually understand you. And you can't hide it from them because we all are curious. I was so curious about my dad, but he turned me off so quick, so fast that I said that I just got to cut that off. And now all I can do is go forward, because when your mother and your father don't put in that cup, they don't care how you turn out. Because if they really cared how you turn out, they would put in that cup everything that needs to be in there to prepare you to launch and be in the world. But since they don't, personally, to me, I don't give a damn what anybody else tell you. They don't care. Now I care. I love my kids. Now, where we're headed now is to make sure that our grandkids, I have 6 grandkids. I have 7 children. Now I have 6 grandkids. We're loving as a team for the grandkids. We're getting back to where it's supposed to be. Unity, family unity, so they can be, they're in the cup, mom's in the cup, dad's in the cup, mom's in the cup, now granddaddy's in the cup. And that goes back to the village. So I'm a part of the village to help the grandkids, and I get to discuss parenting with my kids about what was good and what was bad, instead of them just saying what's all bad, I'm never going to do what dad did. No, let's talk about what was good, what was bad. Now we know how to deal with the grandkids. So now my fatherhood thing is trying to find a way that more dads do dad stuff to help tomorrow, because our real solution is built on creating the new positive norm for the grandkids, because they'll be those parents, they'll do the same thing again. So we're responsible. We are tomorrow's history. And if we don't do our job, we're asking them to do the job that we should have did. Because I'm thinking about the job that my parents should have did, because if they had jacked up parents before them, how do you stop the cycle? And the cycle is not going to be stopped economically and or religiously or politically. It's what you say to your child every day you have them in your presence, how you raise them and how you love them. And that's my story.
So how do you think really that impacted you? Right,
My life is in abundance now. Oh my,
yeah.
I have peace. So this pandemic, I live by myself. The solitude is not a problem for me because I know I'm loved. I remember not getting something on Father's Day, but they don't love me. Well, I wasn't loving them. So if I miss a phone call on Father's Day, I probably already spoke to them 2 days before, or I'm probably gonna talk to them the day after. I already know I'm loved. So the reciprocation is the feed that we don't think about. That's something as a parent we don't put in our kids. We don't put the word reciprocation in our kid, and then we find ourselves keep giving. I keep giving and giving and giving and giving. They don't do nothing in return. You never taught them. You never taught them that they have to love you back. They have to be told and showed. But if you're not giving back to their parents, they don't see you giving back to your parents. They're not gonna give it back to you. They think it's just instead of like this, supposed to go both ways. So yeah, it's really just made my life the best life ever.
So you would say that, therapy really helped you, huh?
Yes. So I wrote a book called 75% Man. And that's the very thing I talk about. Who made you? What happened to you? What did you do about what happened to you? Who you are today and who you want to be tomorrow. That's what that book is about. So it's so important that we find a way to figure out what happened to us, that we know we're just slightly off the line. And then when you figure that out, therapy is one of the things you can do, because they're not there to judge you, and they're not going to fight. I don't want to hear it, because you could get it. You could have that conversation with your parents, but if their shame and their pain is so large, they'll never let you in. But in therapy, you get to talk about and be taken back to a time that you can express how you really felt. Because once a man gets defeated emotionally, he becomes what they used to call me was Iron Man. You couldn't tell what I felt on the inside, because my mother defeated my ability to share my feelings. So when you go to therapy, it can easily unlock you to a full range of emotions that you've been limited to only two: extremely happy and extremely mad. And or horny. I'm sorry, that's three. Happy, mad, and horny. And that's how my life was: happy, mad, extremely happy, extremely mad, and extremely horny. And looking for love. It just does so much, you know. But yeah, I recommend it. If you don't know who you are, I'm not talking about going back in history. I'm talking about going back in your history, your immediate history, and you'll find out some things about why you do what you do. And therapy is one of the things to do, especially if they offer it to you. Most jobs have it that you can actually get it done, but you won't, your insurance, and you won't do it.
You won't do it. Yeah.
You won't do it.
We have one of our members, um, man, I'm always talking to him right now, but he's always, Dr. Euro Hill is always saying how important that really is.
Yeah.
Right. And so during this COVID, he's been very, very busy. We have a board called HOTEP, Healing Ourselves Through Interpretation and Preparedness. Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're always talking about. I think that's very important right there. But my last question to you is, you know, going forward, really, what does fatherhood mean to you?
Fatherhood means everything to family. Fatherhood is the core to the family. They must be led. And if we're not being leaders in our family, then we're not doing them a justice. You don't have to be a leader at your job to be a leader at home. Some people try to equate those two things. You know, you're just a worker bee there. No, but you're still a leader. And if we are the key to family unity. We are the missing piece. We've been removed from our homes, and that the norm of us being gone is a joke to comedians. It's a joke to politicians. They create programs around us being gone. Imagine what it would be like if we were back at home. Imagine, just imagine that. And now imagine it, now make it happen. Because the only people that are going to save us is us. Us, nobody else. And we just need, it's just, we're that important. That's why you see this, you see my shirt? I don't know if you see it.
Right.
Yeah. Negative to positive. Yeah, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We got no choice. We're at the end of the line. And it's us. So we're the future. Fatherhood is the future. But we have to get help first, help ourselves, so we can help out tomorrow.
Hey man, that right there is really, really key, and really, really important. I agree with you. We are always talking about, as I was telling you when I met you, we were always talking about the value. The value, right? Society has been attacking the value across the board of males, husbands, men, and fathers.
Absolutely.
What we've been trying to do, what we've been doing is lining it back up, putting some type of order on it. And the points that you made was very, very important about getting back to family. The other point about being responsible, coming together as a family for the grandkids, showing them what it looks like. And last, being the answer.
Yes.
Being the answer is key. Brother Paul, I really, truly appreciate, go out, plug your book at this point right here. Tell everybody where they can contact you.
Sure. I think that's bad. I ain't got one laying around. Hold on a second. There we go. There we go. I Am My Own Dad, the bonus book. It takes you on a journey. But you remember the part, you remember the part where it says about being a dad? Did you get to that part yet? That is the most important part. If you don't know how to be a dad, the very first thing in that book it tells you is ask another dad. That is the beginning. That is the beginning. Everybody tells their story, but it's the call to action that I want you to get from here.
Yeah, that's why we bring it. That's why we bring it together. I'm putting that prayer
I'm gonna
down.
pitch one
Hopefully you
more.
want to become a member.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna pitch one more.
Go ahead.
There you go. 75% man. 75% man. This is the book that's gonna help you to understand why we must go ahead and venture back in our life for everybody around us.
And how can they reach you?
You can reach me on Facebook. I'm always on Facebook. I have a photography page. I'm also a photographer, and I have a dating page for the single women. It's called Dating Advice for the Single Woman. You can reach me there, and you can reach me at Paul Posey and Negative to Positive on my logo on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn also.
Well, Brother Paul, we thank you. My name is Calvin Mann, president and founder of Good Fathers Only and Encourage Me, I'm Young. This was Daddy Talk Around the World.